Hi everyone, I'm Nived Verma, Microsoft Certified Trainer and Azure Expert Architect. In this video, I would like to explain to you about the fundamentals of artificial intelligence, and we are going to refer to the artificial intelligence capabilities of Microsoft Azure Cloud. In this session, we are going to understand about artificial intelligence, what it is, and the services and resources that we can use from Microsoft hosted Azure public cloud for developing artificial intelligence related solutions. First of all, let me introduce you to the artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is a software that imitates human capabilities, not to the full extent, but to a very large extent. And the modern developments are reaching that pinnacle whereby almost near human capabilities can be developed in software. The basic purpose of artificial intelligence software is to predict outcomes and recognize patterns based upon historical data, recognize abnormal events and making decisions, interpreting visual inputs, understanding the language and engaging in conversation. We are seeing several examples of that on several websites where you have chatbots, etc., and extracting information from sources to gain knowledge. The last point has been made very popular with the advent of ChatGPT, whereby we talk about generative APIs or generative artificial intelligence. We will be talking about that as well little later. First of all, some of the very important or common artificial intelligence workloads are machine learning. Machine learning is primarily involved in predictive models based upon the data and statistics, and this becomes the foundation of artificial intelligence. In machine learning, we primarily try to teach the machine with the help of data, and on the basis of the training that is given to the model, it can predict the outcome on the basis of new data. Anomaly detection. It is a system that detects unusual pattern or events, and it enables preemptive action. Computer vision. It can interpret visual input from cameras, images, or videos. NLP or natural language processing are applications that can interpret written or spoken language and engage in dialogues with the human users. And finally, the knowledge mining. It is primarily involved in extracting information from data sources to create a searchable knowledge store. Now, artificial intelligence comes with a lot of responsibilities, and there are 6 principles of responsible AI. One is fairness. The challenge or risk with the artificial intelligence is that it can it can be biased and it can affect the results. For example, a loan approval model which is developed without taking care of this aspect of biasing may discriminate by gender due to the bias in the data with which it has been trained. For example, if all the loan application data contains the gender of the application, and then we try to ask it to predict the loan approval for a different gender, it may fault over there. Therefore, the model should be developed in such a way that it is fair and it does not discriminate by any characteristic of the data that might be provided to it for prediction. Second, reliability and safety. Errors are errors are very errors can be very dangerous, I would say, and errors may cause harm. For example, an autonomous vehicle experiences a system failure and causes a collision which could be detrimental to a human life. Third, privacy and security. The data could be exposed. Now, when it comes to privacy and security, there has been a lot of talk about protecting the customer data, protecting the data about users, and artificial intelligence should be configured in such a way that it does not leak or it does not allow the data to be exposed. There can be several hazards for that. For example, a medical diagnostic bot is trained using sensitive patient data, which is stored insecurely. Fourth is inclusiveness. This principle of responsible AI says that the solution may not work for everyone. Could be possible that the solution artificial intelligence is working solution is working good for people who who are having all the human capabilities of reading, writing, etc., but it may fail when there is no audio output for visually impaired users. Next is transparency. Now, trusting the artificial intelligence and trusting such systems which behave like human being and they are computerized has always been a contentious issue. An AI-based, financial tool makes investment recommendations. Now, the customer need to know on what basis they have been made, and user should be able to trust a complex system, and therefore it should be transparent. Last is accountability. Now, when organizations start adopting artificial intelligence, it is very important that there has to be an accountability behind the use of them. So who is liable for AI driven decision? Maybe it is possible that an innocent person is convicted of a crime based on evidence from facial recognition. Now who is responsible? The company which is using it, or the company which developed it, or the organization that is using it? All the while, whenever organizations adopt or develop artificial intelligence based solution, they have to keep in mind the responsibility that is there with them. Now let us talk about artificial intelligence in Microsoft Azure. As we might be aware that Azure is a public cloud. Now in Azure, you have public cloud which is scalable, and it provides reliability and sustainability in terms of running your applications or workload. Now, three core concepts that are there with any public cloud, and that is not wrong for Azure as well, is data storage, compute, and services. In Azure Cloud, you are going to get a subscription. Subscription enables you to start using the services on Azure Cloud. Now, these subscriptions have to be purchased by either using your credit card, and you are going to be billed on monthly basis, or it could be enterprise agreement whereby there is a agreeable billing cycle of the for the money that companies have to pay for the resources that they are creating under their subscription. Now, subscriptions will have resource group, and resource group will have resources. Resource group is a logical container which can store several resources that are used for developing the solution. It is recommended that if at all you want to venture further into Azure based artificial intelligence services, you shall undergo some kind of a fundamental training, and you should have a fundamental understanding about the Azure cloud and its functionality. Now, the artificial intelligence services in Microsoft Azure are Azure Machine Learning. Azure provides us with a platform for training, deploying, and managing machine learning models. The advantage of using Azure Machine Learning is that the platform is already there. The developers don't have to, or data scientists don't have to create any kind of resources and manage them. That will be completely taken care by the Azure Cloud service provider. The second type of artificial intelligence service on Azure which can be used are cognitive services. Cognitive services are a suite of services which have four main components: vision, speech, language, and decision. Now, these cognitive services are developed, and applications can directly start using the cognitive services to augment their applications and improve the customer experience. The idea behind a cognitive service is that you don't worry about creating or managing the cognitive services or their improvement. You can directly consume the cognitive services which are developed by Microsoft Azure or its team and rely upon them, and you can test them, and then you can directly use them. Azure Bot Services. It is a cloud-based platform for developing and managing conversational bots. Conversational bots are often seen in various banking applications, various websites, where they start interacting with the user who is visiting these websites or apps. Azure provides us a complete platform for developing and managing the conversational bots. And then finally, the Azure Cognitive Search. Azure Cognitive Search enables the organizations for data extraction, enrichment, and indexing for intelligent search and knowledge mining, which later on can be used to improve their application's behavior, the user experience, and search capabilities within their websites. When we talk about cognitive services, a cognitive services in primarily Azure subscription is a standalone resource for a specific service. Now, general cognitive service resources are available for multiple services. These cognitive services can be directly consumed by the application by making a call to the REST endpoint, and each cognitive service has a address which is pointing to the REST endpoint. As you might see on this graphic over here, you can see this here. It is pointing to a endpoint where the cognitive service is waiting for the signal, and whenever an application makes a call, the authentication token has to be supplied while making a call. Whenever we create a cognitive service resource on Azure Cloud, an authentication key or authorization token is made available, and this has to always travel along with the request to authenticate that your request or your application is a legitimate application or request. And if it is found to be legitimate and legitimate request, the cognitive service will return the results depending upon which type of cognitive service you are calling.